Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Dial the Gate. My name is David Reed. In this episode, we are going to take a look at concept art for Stargate SG-1 Seasons 4 and 5. Brenton Herron and Ken Rebel contributed to this season, and we're just going to dive right in to see what's there. So when we were last together, we talked about the Season 3 finale, which was Nemesis, and now we're moving on to Small Victories, which introduced to us the O'Neill. So you've got an original mothership under construction, something close to it at least. Well, I guess it's not original. It's some kind of new design, but the O'Neill is right here in all of its glory. So the nose particularly is a little different from the designs that we kind of saw take off. In later, especially in episodes like Revelations. It's an Asgard city down there. Would have loved to have gotten a better look at this place. Stargate Worlds was developing some really, really interesting Asgard landscapes, prominently with the apple core shape wedge in like the design element. And you can look around the internet. There's a lot of that material that's out there. So. Exterior Asgard homeworld Valkyrie / O'Neill. So I'm guessing that this is the Valkyrie. And that's the O'Neill. For sure. Let's take a look at the other side. The Uranda hand weapon. Guns, guns, guns. They had so many weapons. They just started, like, by the time they got, well, specifically for Wormhole X-Treme, they were like, you know what, let's just go buy some super soakers and do our fake Wormhole X-Treme show with that one. Grip and clearance to fit average size hand. Anyone got an average hand? Urandan small but deadly. The bane of everyone's existence. Season 4 upgrades. The armbands. Evil Kenny said that they could not, Kenny Gibbs, the props master, he said that they could not keep these things on. So they eventually went with like a rubber version where these arms here, they were designed to open and shut around the arm, well, like so, and they just could not keep them up. So they went ahead and they rushed some rubber ones that they could just slip their hands into, like this one right here, and made it work. The Ataniks. This is a really cool design for Apophis's mothership. You can kind of see it sitting on a pyramid there. No, actually, the pyramid's part of the mothership. Never mind. I take that back. In upgrades, they blow up Apophis's mothership, and it's not 10 episodes later that we see another mothership with him in it. We didn't really see this design realized. I mean, it would have been at least plausible, that the mothership design that we saw in upgrades could have been a continuation of the one from that we saw in Serpent's Venom. There's a ring around it. We didn't know if that ring was a part of the construction or the foundation of the ship. But I think dramatically for upgrades, it would have been more dramatic had they gone on that mission and failed and barely got out there with their lives. Considering just a few episodes later, we see SG-1, we see Apophis with a mothership anyway. So, but this is a really, really cool design. Pen and ink work. More guns. Window of opportunity in this time. Malachi's handheld weapon. Wish I had the concept art for his holographic viewer, but I do not. They did a really good job of duplicating this. Maybe the most famous SG-1 episode of all time, if not all of Stargate. For sure. And when you need a Star Trek counselor to guest star, I feel great pain from both of them. Except now she's Russian. Ah. So, Watergate. Submerged Stargate. Brenton Herron did this one. Way cool. Way, way cool. We've seen adult Unas. For the first ones, we see an infant Unas with little horns. Dion Johnson's Shaka. Head and neck only, body to be covered with fur cloak. Young adult Shaka Unas. Shaka Zo. I love this one. Primordial Goa'uld. Had they stayed on the planet, they would have continued to look like this. Say hello to Chloe. Is that not freaky as hell? Goa'uld eyes are usually on the sides, and this one they're on the front. Depending on the Goa'uld, like in Into the Fire, they have 4 eyes or 2 eyes. They can't seem to decide. Because there may be different species of Goa'uld, but I love the wings. One of my favorite episodes, Scorched Earth, which really kicked off Joseph Malazzi and Paul Mully's career with Stargate. Alien spaceship, Wall of Energy. So this is the Gadmir ship. And Vancouver below it. Got a pretty reasonable look at the Gadmir behind like this glossy kind of space. Like holographic space with language and everything else. Let's take a closer look at the Gadmir. Translucent liquid-filled sac surrounds the alien. Let's show you the full thing first. There we go. One of the cooler species that we got to see. I would love to come back and revisit them. But, I mean, they're so alien to us, we couldn't even stand there unless we were in spacesuits. So... alien engulfed in cloud of yellow sulfur dioxide gas. Everyone loves spaceships. The X-301. Modified from 2 death gliders from Serpent's Lair. Because in SG-1, previous episodes have consequences. Extremely cool. I've always loved this thing, despite the fact that it nearly killed our people. And I think they did another one with another paint job. So this is similar. Test Death Glider. The Curse. One of my favorite villains, Osiris. This is the Isis jar. And then the technology on the inside, the Goa'uld tech to preserve the Goa'uld. Hieroglyphs to be used on Canopic Jar translation. I shall be with you. So if you want to know how to say I shall be with you, I guess that's Egyptian. Not, maybe it is Goa'uld. Translation from, is it Goa'uld? I'm not sure. Someone's gonna have to tell me. And then the MRI scan. Poor Isis. We saw a version of her in Stargate Origins, of that Goa'uld, and going by her other name, Auset. And here's a better look at Isis. The Goa'uld design changed a fair bit. Symbiote has been immersed in liquid for 10,000 years, should appear slightly bloated. Guts to be filled with slimy fluorescent sacs and stuff. Love how technical they are. The Goa'uld look changed radically from the larval version that we saw with Teal'c earlier on, and then for like the fully mature one in the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3 with Into the Fire and Out of Mind, and then we got a more consistent look starting around season 4 with that, and through the rest of the show from Frank's Adrian Conrad's Goa'uld and everything else that came with it. One of my favorite episodes, Serpent's Venom. The Tobin Mine. 3 to the blue, 2 to the red, 7 to the yellow. Whatever, I'm kidding. Tobin Mine. I wish I had the concept art for this version of Apophysis Mothership, but I don't. Sorry about that. The AG-3 satellite. In absolute power. Which I guess theoretically is supposed to be real Goa'uld tech, or at least potentially Goa'uld tech. Shifu could have just made it up to demonstrate to Daniel the danger, but I suspect that these things could potentially exist. So, heavy liquid Nakodan there. Don't ask me what makes it heavy. Tip of pyramid opens and retracts as per staff weapon to reveal business end just before firing and blowing up Moscow. Another look at the AG-3 and a cross section. This is really cool. So there's the targeting position and the propulsion end. And a cross section of the inside. That's so cool. Interior to be crystals and glass with tech, no center shaft, liquid Nakoda fuel cell. So I suppose that at some point there was a developing scene where we saw one on the ground with the outer shell opened up. And they just cut it, which is a shame. One of my favorite episodes. Absolute power. Then we move on to the light. Light device. Goa'uld light device. This episode was originally titled Suicide Mission. Then they switched to the light. We better look at that. Complete light emitting device. Should recognize some of those pieces. That base was later used, if I'm not mistaken, for the Goa'uld vat in Summit and Last Stand. Interior light control detail. Outer pedestal leg detail. Pedestal base detail. So this here was separate from this. All right. And then Child's Play eventually became... Memory don't fail me now. Brain. What is Brain? Good grief. I can't think of it at the moment. You'll be all shouting it out in the chat, I'm sure. The episode where Carter is taken over by Entity. By the Entity. There, finally. For God's sake. Alien mainframe brain. So, didn't look as complicated as this on screen. It would have been interesting if it did, but I mean, just for like a couple of shots, you know, I can't blame them for wanting to put money elsewhere. So, that is so cool. So cool, dude. Yeah. All right. This one done by Brenton Herron, too. Herron's done the last few of these. I'm guessing Ken Rebel was working on another project. The Peltac console, Kronos' bridge weapon. So we come to the end of season 4 at this point. This was used throughout the rest of SG-1. By the time we got it, it was banged up. Let me tell you, it prop works. It was just like, ugh. So you got this core piece here, which was used, props piece cut to fit as per drawing. This was used again, or a reuse here. I can't think of it right now. It escapes me. Then you have the blue dome lights for the weapons console. And this is just a variant. Not going to go into too great detail on it. Okay. Season 5. You ready? So, I would love to have known where this came from. If it was a replicator designed ship, or if it was one that they harvested from someone else. And enemies, I mean, we saw them using a lot of other ships, so I assumed that it wasn't a replicator ship. But because we see the same design again in Unnatural Selection, it leads me to believe that it's a replicator ship similar to the one that Fifth created in Season 8. So, it just says alien ship. So I believe this. I mean, you could argue that it is a replicator ship. Like once they get on their own and consume everything that they want to consume, they make this. So you got a couple of different kinds of ships. You got the escape pod ship kind of design that's basically a giant replicator in Season 8. And then you got the one that Fifth and Replicator flew around in that's kind of like that tube-shaped circular kind of thing, kind of Borg looking. But I really love this design, especially on screen. And I wish we would have seen more of it. You get fleeting shots of these things. Ascension. You want to see Orlan's Stargate? Model shop note. Require melted solder wrapping for burnt out version. Refrigeration unit, frost ice. Bench vise as connector for heavy electrical cables. I really wonder what happened to that, because that would have been a neat prop to have. I would have loved to have sold that at PropWorks. Really wonder what happened to it. They probably scrapped it. God knows how heavy it was. And then Teal'c starts walking around with a Death Glider staff weapon in The Fifth Man. Another good one of Chris. Death Glider wing. The Riol and Kayaye, whatever his name is. Didn't really get a very good look at him. Rainmaker did not duplicate this one-to-one. It's fairly different. But I love just looking at, what aliens could have been. Here's a real icky CG alien creature, according to the back office. handsome. And another creature, icky alien creature, that we didn't get to see very much of on screen. Just got to see a fraction of it. He's octopus / spider. The tomb that Marduk was... The Goa'uld Marduk was trapped with. There you go. Can you imagine? I still think it is the worst way to go. In terms of death, being put in with a sarcophagus with that thing. As the sarcophagus continually tried to heal you, this thing continually tried to munch on you for all eternity. And then, you know, defecating and everything else. It would have been really, really nasty. That's really kind of what we saw in the episode there. The Tolan hand weapons. They kind of cut out the middle of the Tolan triad like invitation device in not triad, not between two fires, pretense. And went ahead and made a gun with it. Tolan hand weapon. Weapon to attach to belt with magnet. Both front and back are the same finish as Tolan blue and silver metal. Wouldn't have mind owning one of those. Another one of my favorites, 2001, the Ascension Harvester. Sterility. Maybe that was its name. The Ascension Harvester Sterility. Harvester and Stargate, and a wee bitty Sam. Brenton Heron. Brenton, if you're out there watching, get in touch. I'd love to have you on to discuss these. There's the process for the gate. And then, everyone's favorite plausible deniability Stargate. Empire of the Goa'uld. Norco Stage 2, Wormhole Portal Device. Da, da, da. I love that. Oh, they're all numbered. That's terrific. You know, that would be perfectly serviceable in like a Black Mirror episode or something else. I wonder what happened to that one. And then, one of my favorites in the entire collection. This is a tremendous use of color. Brenton Heron's Martin's alien spaceship. One that was orbiting around Mars for God knows how long. Extremely cool. I love concept art. I love looking at this stuff. That is just pure art. My favorite episodes for a long time were Summit and Last Stand. The real chemical weapon. I had a copy of this prop somewhere, and I don't have it anymore. I'd love to get my hands on it. One of the more small ones. Important information here. And then the Hasara System Space Station. One of my favorite originals. This was not cheap. I can tell you that right now. So you got Hathor's ship there, which we did not technically see in this episode. Got a Goa'uld mothership there. Very cool. And then for the Armageddon episodes, they did a few different versions of this one. As VFX CG shot. Exterior asteroid and failsafe. And again. You know, they're in that really, 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 really deep cavern, but we have a great view of Earth. My little bones to pick about that episode. But you know what? I would have rather had this shot of Earth than just a wall. So you know what? On balance, you got to make it work with what you got. And then into the cave. The Naquita Cave. Entrance asteroid. Interstage on riser. That's 1, 2, and 3. I'm missing 4. Here's 5. And then, last but certainly not least, David Palfy's character, Anubis. He really didn't know what he was going to look like. Rainmaker was told to give them like 5 to 10 designs. They gave them to them, plus an extra one that had a smiley face on it. Anubis. Revelations. Just love that. I mean, you already got like a kind of idea of what's happening there. It reminded me of the puddle. I can't think of really anything else. But, yeah, that's seasons 4 and 5. So, really means a great deal to have you on. And we're going to continue to move forward with these kinds of shows. So if you like Stargate and you want to see more content like this in the future, it would really mean a great deal to me if you click that like button. It makes a difference with YouTube's algorithm and will help the show grow its audience as we share this content with others. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate friend. And if you want to get notified about future episodes, click the subscribe icon. Giving the bell icon a click will notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes and any gas. This is key if you plan on watching live. I'm David Reed for Dial the Gates. We're going to continue to produce special features like this in addition to the normal interviews, and we'll see what happens next. But I appreciate you tuning in. Cross our fingers. When we move forward here, we'll have James C.D. Robbins to share some of his memories of some of the special content 2 seasons at a time. Next, I want to do season 6 and 7, and hopefully he'll be on board for that one. I'm David Reed for Dial the Gate. See you on the other side.